Like there has to be, like what you see on social media, like TikTok, what's happening in Gaza, that's real. There's just thousands and thousands of posts from hundreds, if not thousands of people sharing it all the time. And then when you see that and you hear what the institution says, it's the opposite of what you're seeing. Imagine that same situation, but in all these other countries, there's no visual.
And the problem is most of the times we want to get our news or information from the establishment without really knowing the source of that information.
Get your information from independent media outlets and pick more than one and do your research and form your own opinion. There is power in information, and you better believe that they've been controlling what you see and controlling a narrative around the world. Even 20 years ago, maybe less, 15 years ago. Some of the stuff they say on the news, people will believe it wholesale because there's no other resource. There's no other mode of finding out. Now we have the technology to find out and then get it out to the people. People have always found out the truth, but then they just disappear.
And the problem is a lot of people don't want to be controversial today because they feel like if they say something crazy, they're going to be canceled. And a lot of people are scared of being canceled today. They're just like, no, man, I don't want to cancel myself for saying something controversial.
Well, you can only be canceled if someone else controls your life to begin with.
That's a really powerful statement right there. And a lot of people don't think from that perspective, though.
Yeah, I mean, 100 years ago, 90% of Americans owned their own business and only 10% had jobs. You know, people owned their shoe shop and their apartment was on top of it. People grew food and sold it. People had a grocery store and, you know, their apartment was on top of it. They didn't even have, a lot of them didn't even have employees. They were their own employees. They just made enough to make a living.
But the problem with
now, it's the other way around now.
Yeah, the problem with that is some people are going to be asking themselves like, hey, if you're building a culture of just producers, who's going to be the consumer? Because the culture now is just like, oh, everyone is a consumer.
Well, you can ask the same question. How can we sustain this society where everyone is a consumer and no one is producing? Only a handful are producing. That's unsustainable.
Yeah.
Because if the grocery store is empty, where are you going to get your food?
That's a problem.
In 6 weeks, people are eating each other.
Wow, man.
Whereas if everyone is a producer, you go in your backyard and start picking cucumbers and apples and you're fine. Like, whatever. I don't have someone to take my ingredients to make a pie for me. I can just go on the internet and figure out how to bake a pie. Like, with the right technology, like the internet is free information is disseminated everywhere. Everyone could learn how to produce, but we've been conditioned to be a consumer, to be dependent on the system so that the system can control you.
Wow. I want to take this conversation now and make a U-turn.
Yeah.
To some...
Yeah, you got me started early.
No, I think we're going to go deeper on that. But I want to go, you suggested a book that I should read. What's the name of the book again?
Behold a Pale Horse.
What made you tell me to do that?
So, like, I was telling you a lot about the stuff that we talked about and we'll probably get into. A lot of it sounds so sensational.
Yeah.
So outlandish. Where are you getting all of this?
Yeah.
And over a long period of time, I'd read something here, I'd read something there, I'd watch a documentary about one subject, and then I would see a recommendation of this book pop up more than once. Behold a Pale Horse. Yeah. Behold a Pale Horse. It's like a basic breakdown for all like the biggest globalist conspiracy theory. It's only a theory if it's not real, but you know, a conspiracy theory is something that's not proven to be real. A conspiracy is a charge you get in court. Don't get much realer than that.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Ain't nobody talking to you, Siri. Shut up. See, the government getting mad at me already. They're listening. They're listening.
Wow, that was so funny, bro. Anyways,
you asked me. I didn't answer your question. You asked me why I recommended that book to you.
Yeah.
Number one, I told you a bunch of stuff, and I'm not the type of person that expects you to believe me. I'm just sharing what I've learned and what I've read and what I think.
Yep.
I'm one person. I'm not trying to start a revolution or anything. I'm just sharing what I know. And if you don't believe me, here's a piece of literature that's a good starting point.
Yep.
And whatever the book has, like a lot of big subjects in it. Like, how many things did you read about that could be their own book?
Yeah, there are a lot of things, bro. My mind was like, whoa, what the hell am I doing, bro? This is incredible.
Go back and read it and pick a section and look up books on just that subject, and you'll find endless literature on it.
Wow. And I want to from that book, I heard a lot of things about like the elite group and the new world order, how they're trying to change a lot of things in society, especially birth control. And I was blown away when I heard something like, oh, they're trying to use like homosexuality and they're targeting black population and the Latino community and stuff like that. I was like, man, there's something right here. And sometimes when you hear something like that, you'll be like, oh, should I voice an opinion or should I just sit quiet? Because you voice an opinion today, you'll be like, no, this guy don't know what he's doing. But the problem now in the world is people are not going to want to do what I did reading the book to really understand some certain things about life because they're scared of being controversial. So what are you going to say to someone who's like intrigued about the topic but is scared of speaking up?
Ask yourself, why? Why do you want to know about it? Why do you want to share it? What's your motivation? Why does it matter what people think about your opinion? Are you is your goal to change theirs? Shouldn't be. Because freedom is just that. Do I believe that there's an agenda to try and steer the majority of people in specific communities to a certain lifestyle where they can't reproduce? Absolutely. Does that mean that I think everyone who lives that lifestyle should be exterminated? Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. So what drew you to that particular topic, like aliens, the new world order and stuff like that? What really made you go towards that direction to really understand what's going on in this world today?
I used to love politics. I was always interested in it. And then the more years went by, the more I realized, like, nothing's getting better. It just keeps getting worse. And I have my side. I used to be very liberal.
Oh.
And you know, the right is the enemy. But I was a reasonable person. I didn't attach my identity completely to it. Like one of my best friends, someone I've known the majority of my life, almost 30 years. He's a staunch Republican, always has been. But it never stopped us from being friends. Just because we don't have the same political alignment or the same opinions about, you know, people's lifestyles or what they should and shouldn't do doesn't mean we can't be friends, because we're people. Human beings have a vast majority more things in common than we do apart. The people whose lifestyles I don't approve of, I still share more in common with them than I do with those elitist establishments that you mentioned. They want us every time we hate each other and we fight each other, they're happy, they're winning. Their worst nightmare is us figuring out that we have more in common than others. I'm just not like, I have my opinion, but I'm not telling people they shouldn't live that lifestyle. I just think children, first of all, children need to be left alone.
Yeah, and that's the truth.
Like, you don't own your child. I literally made this person from my flesh and blood. Okay? Whether you believe in God, the universe, or nature itself, whatever it is, I was assigned by it to create this person. So they're more mine than they'll ever be yours. And I won't own them forever. When they're an adult, they're going to do whatever they want.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And, you know, like Disney, the typical example today is suffering today because they don't really understand who really have the power and with the remote control.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, they thought the kids had the power, but we just realized that the parents have powers now. And now the stock is going down like crazy.
That's why they're writing laws to try and take parental power away, parental rights. Like some schools, like if your child, wants to change their gender, you know, if their gender is fluid, they're required to not tell the parents. They can't tell their parents about it. And they have to affirm their gender and support the child's delusion.
Yeah, because my problem with that is this, like, when children are growing up, they don't really know what's right and what's wrong.
They don't know shit.
And the moment you keep like just putting that thing on their face, they're going to just want to do it.
No,
and
like,
they end up regretting.
I really want to emphasize that. They don't know shit.
Yeah, they don't know anything.
And I don't mean that as an insult.
Yeah.
I mean that in just the most honest way. They're innocent.
Yeah, they're really innocent.
Like from the third trimester of pregnancy up to age 7, children are in their brain is in a state called a theta brainwave.
Yeah.
You have the alpha brainwave, the theta brainwave, and then the conscious brainwave. That's when you're awake. Alpha is when you're asleep. Theta, as an adult, when you're falling asleep, that drowsy area where you can't tell if you're awake or asleep right when you're about to go out, you're in the theta state.
Yeah.
You're in that state all the time from the third trimester in the womb all the way through age 7, because your brain is a blank hard drive, just mass downloading information. That's why little kids, when they're playing games and pretending, they think it's real. They don't know what's real is and what isn't. So if they say, I'm a girl, I really am a girl, they don't know what's real yet. They're still imprinting reality on them. It's the child's or the parent's job to be the guardian, to safeguard them from danger during those times and teach them what is real and what isn't, so that when the stone or the concrete sets in their mind, they have a good framework.
And that's part of the agenda, though.